Hello, welcome back to Friday's Premier League Today with Ian Wright and Danny Murphy. Manchester United are our focus next. They travel to Stoke this weekend, and Romelu Lukaku has been talking of his joy at playing for Man United.
It's the biggest club in the world. You know, as soon as I signed for the club, I knew how big it was. I knew what it meant. I knew what the players were like, and I really wanted this challenge. And I knew about the interest of the club for about a year, so it was really on my mind to come and to have a taste of it. And I'm really grateful that I got this opportunity. I wanted to play for him since I was 11. So, I mean, when you get another chance like that, you don't say no. And I'm really grateful for that second opportunity. I really worked hard for it as well. So now we're back together again, and things are going really well. And I just give my best for the team and make sure that we'll be very successful in the future. We know that the expectations are really high, but I was mentally prepared. I was already prepared for the move already for a long time. So I was just waiting for the opportunity to come. So once I got the opportunity, I think I seized it with my both hands. There's still a lot of work to be done, and I'm really relishing the challenge here. And I want to improve every day and help my teammates to get the best out of each other.
Well, the question that was asked of Romelu Lukaku when he was at Everton was, can he do it against the big sides, which was a bit of a sort of misleading question. But also, could he make the step up? Was he ever going to show that he could realise his potential? Has he done that so far at Manchester United?
Well, we're very early in. But
OK, well, given the 3 games that we've seen...
Well, given the 3 games that we've seen, we're still seeing the Lukaku, what we've seen at Everton, sometimes scintillating, held it up in certain areas and lost it in areas that he shouldn't have. But the main factor is he's scoring. And what Man United didn't do a lot last season was, as much as Zlatan scored a lot, they missed a lot of chances. Yeah. And he looks like somebody that's going to probably take a lot more than he misses, because they do make a lot of chances at Man United. And I think that, sometimes, Dan, you can watch him and it looks like, come on, you've got to be holding that. But then, 2 minutes later, he'll score a goal. People have forgotten about what he's not holding. And they've got so many players in and around that can do all that stuff. For me, if I was him, I'd just focus on just being in and around the box.
And the fact is, he couldn't do any more than have a scoring start, could he?
I think it's great for him, great for United. The fact he's not going to have to defend as much and run back as much and drop off as much, because they'll have more possession, dominate teams more, is going to help him. I think he's great at being on the edge of the box and rolling people. He's good at that, so that's going to help when you have teams packed at Old Trafford, which they had last season and drew too many. Yeah. And as you say, the most important thing is the players around him. They're going to keep feeding him. He's going to be awesome. If he stays fit, he'll get you 25 at United, maybe 30. Yeah. Because he's so strong and quick and clever with his runs now. He knows, especially in the last third, he's getting better.
And that'll only get better, Dan, simply because of the calibre of player that's passing the ball to him.
Correct.
It's a whole different world when you get in that.
So no wonder that we're seeing a very relaxed Jose Mourinho. He said, I don't like flat seas. I like choppy waters. I like to be... And yet, when things are going well for him, as they are at the moment, we see him giving big interviews, sitting down, he's smiling, he's playing in the charity game and at the weekend and went in goal and was playing the clown, playing to the crowd. He's a different person when things are going well.
That last season at Chelsea, you wouldn't say that was a flat sea, would you? It was quite choppy water. Didn't seem to deal with that pretty well.
But I think he'll settle for calm waters the whole season.
Absolutely, yeah. Because you don't want that kind of unrest. But now, the reason why you're seeing him looking so relaxed and happening, because I think he's very, very close to exactly what he wants.
And he should be. Make no mistake, the money they've spent, they should be there. And they should be.
But what happens, Dan, if they get an injury to Matic? What happens then? Yeah, but the way they played without a Matic kind of player, I know Herrera filled in, but he's
Carrick's
such
still there.
Yes, but the way Matic has made such an impression, you'd miss that if he's not there.
I don't think it's as big a deal when you've got Herrera and you've got Pogba and Carrick, because defensively they were okay last year.
Yeah,
it's the goals.
And it's someone to fill in rather than as their first choice.
I mean, if he had a horrendous injury, but I'm talking if he misses a couple of games.
Well, cool, a couple of games, but I'm talking about he has made such a difference.
If you could say that about Kante at Chelsea.
You could say that about Kante at Chelsea, but now I feel that with Drinkwater and maybe Bakayoko, they've got two people who might be able to do something, whereas Man United, they haven't got a specialist doing it. That's what would worry me if they, like, he's a specialist, Matic.
What about the worrying points ahead of this game against Stoke? Jose Mourinho hasn't beaten Stoke in any of his last 4 games. He lost his 4th league match of the season in 4 of the last 5 seasons. Mark Hughes unbeaten in his last 3 games against Mourinho. Are the signs pointing towards Stoke getting, looks, in terms of history, maybe rather than in terms of personnel?
Yeah.
If Stoke are looking for something, are they looking for it in history?
Well, for me, yeah. Yeah, because with the...
Good stats, man.
Yeah, great stats. With the Man United team that's turning up there and the confidence, the Man United that's looking more like the Man United that I know and I played against in confidence and performance, I'm not sure they're bothered about anything what's happening in the history. They will be going there looking to continue on this 100% record that they've already got.
Can Stoke provide anything to hurt Manchester United or to stop Manchester United?
I mean, yeah, they've got quality, of course they have, but I'm with Wright. I think they've got too much, United. Stoke would have to start well, and I think they'd have to play like the away team. Yeah, they're capable, of course, if United have a bad day, but you just... Mata, Mkhitaryan, Rashford, Lukaku, Lingard, Pogba. I mean, it's ridiculous. His biggest problem is keeping them happy.
Yeah. And then Stoke's biggest problem is keeping them unhappy. They're going, there are too many. You mean you're trying to concentrate on that many players to try and stop them?
Yeah.
It makes it. They've played Everton and Arsenal, Stoke. They've now got Man United, Chelsea, and Manchester City in their next 5. Will we have any idea at the end of this run of fixtures of how Stoke are set up for this season, given that it's been so hard for them, this start?
To be honest, if I'm going to be totally honest, Stoke, if they can get through this period and still keep their head above water in respects of getting a couple of results and a couple of wins out of that, then you'd have to say they've got rid of all the top guys pretty early in the season, so they can now go on to really have a good season, depending on how Stoke are going to perform. We know they're in and around 9th, 12th, wherever it is, but they can have a really good season if they can get something out of these results, because that's a lot of big teams in a short space of time.
For Manchester United, though, going into this game, it's a chance for them to obviously win their opening 4 matches of the season, but we've seen them being so explosive against other teams already this season that they've gone out and they've actually blown them out the water. Is that, I mean, do you think Jose Mourinho is going to sustain that for the rest of the season, or is this just an early way to make sure that they're leading from the front, which is what he prefers and the way that he has won titles in the past?
That will be very tough to sustain, but they are top players and they know what it takes to have to continuously perform at that certain level. It'll be hard for anyone to do that, but I feel that when you're winning games and it's working, they've got the kind of players in their team that once they do start like that and they maybe get the goals that they want, they're able to manage the game.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean, Dan? They're able to manage the game so they can then keep the ball and get a break in the game. You know what I mean? I used to watch Liverpool back in the day, watching Liverpool. Once they've hammered you, just watch them manage the game. You know what I mean? And that's what you believe, that those players are good enough to be able to do that, so they know where to take their rest.
Predictions coming up very shortly. So early in the season, so many managers already looking under a great deal of pressure. This is what you think is going to happen in this weekend's games with your best Wheel of Fortune hand gestures. Danny, feel free to pick it apart if you like. So we've gone for City 2-2 against Liverpool.
Changed his mind now.
I was going to go 3-2 to Liverpool. I changed my mind because Danny was in my ear, and I just copied.
Do you know what? Though? I think there'll be goals.
I think there'll be goals in the game, and I actually believe that someone's going to win it, but Danny, he was hanging over me.
So you've gone for a 3-1 win against Bournemouth. You're not so sure. You think maybe a draw for Bournemouth in that one, don't you?
I can't see Arsenal going such a bad performance,
yeah.
Such a convincing one, and Bournemouth be fighting for their lives. Who knows? But I think, yeah, maybe a draw.
More trouble for Brighton. Chris Hughton's side finding it tough. Only got 1 point so far this season. Tottenham to get the better of Everton. Chelsea to beat Leicester by 2-1. Southampton a draw against Watford. Man United to beat Stoke 2-0. Potential there. A 3-0 win for Burnley against Crystal Palace.
I just feel at home they might cause Palace a problem, and I just feel that Palace, it's just not happening at the minute.
We're going to come back to Frank de Boer in a second. Swansea to beat Newcastle 3-2. Been a really tough start for them. Rafa Benitez wasn't in his news conference because he's having an old wound of a hernia operation. Cleared out. So he's on medical advice. He's
keep you out,
potentially staying away from that game as well.
30 goals he's gone for.
And
30 goals there,
he's
Dan.
never had a 0-0 draw yet in his predictions. And Huddersfield to beat West Ham 2-1 on Monday night.
Yeah, I just feel like, you know, it's West Ham's first home game, and Huddersfield, I know they've had a couple of good results, but I just feel like they'll fancy this one in that new in the West Ham Stadium.
Which of those do you most strongly disagree with, Danny?
Oh, there's a few. I think Palace will do all right at Burnley.
Yeah.
And I think West Ham will beat Huddersfield. I think they're the two that stand out.
As far as the Palace result is, I mean, the Palace result goes, De Boer reported to only have one game left in order to save his job. If you sack a manager 4 games into a new season without having spent any money in the transfer window, is the issue with the manager or with the person who appointed them?
I think you'd have to go with the person who appointed him and the way that he's played and the way that he's grown up playing a certain way of football. You can't expect Frank de Boer to come in and play like how Sam Allardyce's Palace is going to play. So for him to get through all the various interviews to get the job and then he's trying to play like he is, you can't blame him too much. But can he change? Will he change? If he doesn't, I don't think with this set of Palace players he can get them to play the kind of football that he wants.
So, Danny, when Steve Parish announces him and says he's a manager who wants to play a certain way, he's got that Ajax pedigree, he's had success there, he can teach us about building a club.
Yeah.
If they then make a change, do they make a change to say, we don't want to do that with Crystal Palace anymore and we now want a completely different style of manager? Or do they say, we still want to do that, we just don't think that Frank de Boer is the right man to do it?
I think it'd be ridiculous to get rid of him after 4 games. My understanding is that they'll be a bit more pragmatic this weekend. And I think he's clever enough to know that you can't run before you can walk.
He has to, Dan, I think.
And with Benteke, I mean, come on, you've got to get some balls up to him. I think you'll see a bit more. The second half against Swansea, they were more direct.
Yeah.
And I think they'll do all right. I've got a feeling they might get a result.
Crystal Palace might well do all right. That might be good enough for Frank de
My
Boer at
predictions are
Palace
never
this
any
weekend. Sorry, rankings are terrible as well.
Mine are always brilliant.
But listen, we're going to start the weekend with an absolute cracker. It is Liverpool and Manchester City. We're predicting goals, I think, pretty much everywhere in
Looking
that
forward to
one.
that.
But we're going to leave you